The song One Step Closer to Dead started out as an idea Joe had to write a song inspired by the Day of the Dead. And the idea was we would talk about various people that we knew growing up and how they and our memories of them influenced and impacted us in our lives and all the way through now. And in many ways, the new record it's almost like a concept album in that it is inspired by, and in some cases directly about, experiences and people that we knew growing up in our hometown. So when I started thinking about people that I knew growing up, naturally I thought a lot about people I knew growing up in Sherrill and the way life was back then. When we were teenagers and in our early 20s, we didn't think life was in any way, shape, or form simple. And it's probably not. But in hindsight, and when compared to the way you look at things as an adult, particularly a 40 or 50-something-year-old adult, it certainly seems simple in hindsight. Because at the time, you aren't worried about bills. You aren't worried about a job or getting a job. You just are in the moment. You're much more in the moment. Now, that's not to say that you're living mindfully, because really, you're not. You're just kind of in the moment. And when you grow up and you get married and you have kids and you have these responsibilities, you leave that behind. But sometimes you can go to the other extreme. You can go to the point where you are going from point A to point B, you're in the rat race, you have blinders on, and you're just moving forward. You're towing that line. And you might be towing that line in an effective way, but at the end of the day, if all you're doing is towing that line every day, that line leads to one place. That line leads straight to the grave. Like so many things, there's both a tension and the need for a balance between living in the moment in a carefree way to living with blinders on, only focused on getting from one place to another. And when I was writing the story, those were the things that were floating around my head. So the first verse sort of sets the stage for the idea that, hey, in the story, the singer, I'm still here. I'm still trying to live in the moment, this carefree way. And this person who presumably is a woman or girl that is or was very important to him is starting to move into the other phase of life. But this guy wants to stay where he is. He's like, hey, if I knew you like I used to, meaning that if we hadn't drifted apart, we wouldn't have to worry about all these other details. I could say, come over, let's sit back, let's party, have a good time.
I wish I knew you the way I used to. I'd say roll a joint, come sit with me a while. Now you say screw you, that's all you do. Ever since they told you I was way too wild.
You don't know how much of that's real and how much of that is you just imagining how much easier it was when you didn't have all these other things on your mind. And that's the whole point of the chorus. I don't know if it's a lie or the truth. I don't know if when we look back at our youth, maybe it wasn't as awesome and fun as it seems like it was now. It probably wasn't. So I don't know if it's a lie or the truth, but I do remember that when we used to run around and have fun together, it was great. So we could do that. Doesn't matter. I just remember that we had a good time.
And I don't know if it's a lie or the truth, but I had a lot of fun running around with you. Life is for living, it's like that poet said. Growing up ain't much fun if it's one step closer to death.
The second verse has the line which was actually the first part that I came up with was the lie or the truth part, because I kept thinking to myself, I don't know if this was real or I'm making all this up, these memories of how good it was. But the second part that I came up with was what turned into the line about the dress. We use Sherrill in the song because, again, there's kind of a theme to the record, and Joe and I are both from there, and so it made sense, and it actually rhymed with off. So that was a nice little deal. The very first cut of the verse, instead of a black dress, it was black panties. But Joe, correctly realizing that we want this to be at least somewhat of a family record, said maybe we should turn it back a notch and we use dress. The third verse has some really harsh imagery with respect to those people who toe the line with blinders on. He's critical of her mother for telling her that this guy's not good for you. And so it talks about, you don't want to live in the moment all the time, but you also don't want to stay so focused on that line that before you know it, your life's over and you've got nothing to show for it, but in her case, a scrapbook with her sister's grandkids in it. So, it's a simple song, but there are themes in it of this tension between responsibility and living in the moment and your memories of youth and compared to how it may have been at the time and the fact that you really can't know. But it doesn't matter. All that really matters is we look back at our life as young people and it was great. And that's all that matters. I am super excited about the new record. I got my advance copy this week. I have listened to it a ton. And I'm not just saying this because I play a small part in it. I'm saying this because it's true. This is a phenomenal record. And if you have any connection to the Sand Hills area of South Carolina, or if you like good music, when this record comes out, you need to check it out because I am telling you, it is an excellent record and I am proud to be a small part of it. Peace from Rancho Donato. We'll talk to you next time.
And I don't know if it's a lie or the truth, but I